Alrighty. Skype time. Blam. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hello? 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 There we
Hello?
go.
Oh, we're still here. Can't get rid of us that easily.
No, of course not. Alright. Let's do some after show here.
Is it over?
Is it over? So yeah.
Did we have any questions come in?
I'm checking my email right now.
I think I got an indirect question, or at least one of my enhancement friends skewering me for not mentioning how good enhancement was at Siegecrafter and Thok. So maybe I should address that at some point. Yeah, so I guess it didn't really get into that, but enhancement is pretty good at Siegecrafter and Thok. Thok predominantly because we do such good single target damage, but also have like really good speed
Mobility?
boosts.
Yeah, mobility.
Yeah, so we can keep up with Thok for probably his first 2 targets, and you know that equals a lot of boss DPS. Like when I was looking at boss damage meters, there's a couple ranged ahead of me, and then obviously our Feral Druid who has a ton more mobility. So we're very, very good at that fight. Plus, there's an element to Thok where you have to keep cooldowns going, so you can keep the raid at a certain health so that he doesn't transition and get up to I think 30 stacks. And we obviously have Healing Tide and AG to get up to there. So that definitely makes us very valuable on that fight, I think. And then as far as Siegecrafter goes, there's a sort of a very specific belt DPS requirement, and we're one of those classes that can hit that requirement with our cooldown rotation. And then also, at least in the beginning, a lot of weapons sort of go through that wall of doom, and being able to sort of chain cast lightning bolts and still like get that last little bit of damage found helped a lot. And then also get back to the boss with that mobility again.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm looking forward to that fight, honestly. Hope I don't like... I've had a really bad, Spazzo doing some shout-outs here on Paper here. I've had a really bad track record lately, and you can watch it on my stream where I've been like derping on some ground effects lately. I don't know why. I took that week off, and I relaxed, I did nothing, I just streamed and had fun. And then I got back to work, and like back to like the 14-hour day, like I guess I just been like really out of it toward the end of the week. So hopefully I don't get eaten by those cutters, because the cutters on the belt move now in Heroic, correct?
They do. It's once you get used to the pattern though, it's not too bad. I did actually we killed it like about 2 hours after I did this, but I caused a 7% wipe by face planting into one of the cutters, unfortunately.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah.
Don't feel bad.
Feeling.
I don't think I have the video, but we had a 3% wipe, and like we had to go in the belt still, and I like got caught in the lip, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like trying to get up in the pipe, and then I just fell. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
No.
I've fallen on normal before, obviously. Oh, it's terrible.
that belt
feeling.
too. When you're crossing through the gap, for whatever reason, sometimes your character like hitches and pauses, and your like heart stops every time that happens. Like,
It's like 2 belts, and there's like a little like crevice.
Yeah. It's interesting mechanic too, because it's a perpetual opposite movement that you're wanted to move, and when you leave or jump, you don't maintain the momentum. So the physics in the game aren't that good. So you want to push this way, but when you jump, you don't actually go anywhere. So it totally throws off your mental state of like, I want to jump with the momentum, but you don't jump with the momentum. You just like jump straight and you fall down because you missed the pipe. It's terrible. It's terrible.
How much are you charging for those shout-outs there?
I know, you getting paid? You getting some
And some moolah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I guess speaking of enhancement being good on certain fights, I think one thing we didn't get into was melee class balance throughout Siege. I was wondering if you saw melee get set on a lot of fights, as some of us have been kind of sky is falling predicting. But I don't think that that's been true, at least from the commentary I've heard from you guys. So, what do you think?
No, I don't think so at all. Like maybe spoils. There's a lot of sort of spread targets, so melee aren't so great at that. I think if you were going to bring melee to that fight, you could sort of plant them on Mogu and have them deal with those big ads over there.
Yeah.
But in general, like I feel like melee has been reasonably strong. Like I mean, myself and Spazzo have both been in for a lot of kills. So when you think about having 3 rogues and an enhance in a fight, like that tells you that it's pretty melee friendly, right?
Yeah, there really hasn't been a fight where it's like, yeah, you need 2 melee, and that's it.
Well, that's good to hear because I know a lot of us were, and I've definitely been sort of beating this drum a lot. Is that melee have just not been great this entire expansion, and I know at least for Siege, my objections to sort of the way melee work have been more based around quality of life, being able to see shit ever, and being the best for a certain encounter. But I don't. It's nice to hear that we're not going to get sort of sat across the board on anything.
Evan's
so far.
Evan's question: why do you have so many pieces of paper on your desk?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a.
It's a
It's like
notepad.
little books.
Yeah. I mean, I have a notepad right here. I have a CVS notepad and I have a sticky notepad here. I mean, that's a thing.
I'll use it for anything else. So yeah.
Yeah.
I did,
Selling some
Laryl.
shout-outs.
I did, and I'm sorry. We even said that at the beginning of the show about how the show needs to be like PG-13, and I can't control my dirty mouth. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we're Spark. I mean, no, cursing is fine. It's just, obviously the professionalism, like say for like League of Legends, they tell people not to curse or whatever. They still let them fly. It happens. Sometimes during the heat of the moment, you just want to get out those words. You can bomb them. It's fine. It's okay.
I don't know if we can ask your question, Laryl. Scroll up to what Palm Strike said. If they had to sacrifice one guilty to the old gods in order to secure victory, who would it be?
I know
What
Chris
their
would
response
sacrifice
be?
me like that. I would be done because if you watch with progression or on like almost all the kill videos on my YouTube for Crisp, I think I almost die in every single one of them for the kill. I think if I don't die, we won't get kills. So if Dan is still there, he can give me a thumbs up on that one. I would get sacrificed to Nazoth in seconds.
You can
But-
res yourself, so it works out well.
Yeah, I'll just onk. Yeah, that's true. Hey, it's a DPS game. You onk, and then you get new heroism, all right? All planned. Worth. Hashtag. So. What about you guys? What would something Wiccan sacrifice? Who would something Wiccan sacrifice?
Sacrifice
Who
to
would-
get world first garage? Is that what
Yeah.
you're asking? Who would I sacrifice? I'm gonna go with Clipper. He's one of our hunters. You know,
Uh-oh.
just Offer him up,
Ooh.
offer him up to the
Harsh.
to the gods. It'll be worth it. Worth.
I'm gonna take the other path. I'm just gonna keep quiet. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Maybe
Oh.
because then maybe if we had to make a choice, I'd be the one who'd get sacrificed. So you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. We
You
can't
wouldn't-
name
Sure, I could get
healers.
thrown.
Can't name tanks.
What
so-
about just sacrifice Sloot's hat, right? That hat is so powerful.
No, you cannot
Right?
sacrifice the hat.
But
I
that
like
would be
the hat.
worth it. It's so much latent power in that lion cap. Like, come on, man.
No, the hat is awesome.
Sloot-
the hat is
Sloot,
like their
what?
key to victory. They have to have the hat.
They need the hat.
Brings up a good point. I've been dead in a lot of the kill screenshots that I posted, so I guess with something wicked, it would clearly be me.
Oh yeah.
In my defense, one of those I was tanking, and it was like an accidental kill. I don't
Yeah.
remember the other two that I was dead in, but I've definitely been dead in quite a few of our screenshots. It's because I'm on the boss, and it's after the berserk, and it turns to me, and I've already used
Yeah,
bubble.
I feel you. You don't
Yeah.
have evasion like me. You just-
Yeah, well, I have bubble, but I've usually already used it. I've been pretty proactive about trying to use it this year. So
So I have
Doesn't
a
the
question.
CDR
Oh,
reduce bubble? Oh, sorry.
no, I don't think you get bubble reduce on your CDR trinket, do you?
I don't know.
Rose
I
get
know.
cloak. So.
I know Divine Protection is on it. I don't remember if Bubble's
I don't
on
think
it.
bubble
Somebody
gets it because we have
else- I
shamanistic
only got it, like,
rage
days ago.
for enhancement.
I actually haven't raided with it yet because I only got it like a day ago.
Oh.
I don't see any paladins in chat telling me if it does. It might. I don't know if it does for red. I'm not. It might for prot.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just know that it does. It does my DPS cooldowns. Obviously, it does not affect the raid cooldown. Again, obviously, and it does affect Divine Protection, which is huge.
Yeah.
So bubble is
so.
affected.
Oh, go ahead.
No, so bubble is affected.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, there's an easy way to check.
So, let's do questions now. We got one coming in from a longtime viewer of my stream, member of the Legion, KWG. There you go. KWG wants to know what your guys' favorite boss this tier is so far, and or favorite boss mechanic.
Oh. Siege Crafter.
Yeah?
Just because it was so intense and
Yeah.
yeah. If you watch our kill video, it's pretty amazing. And I guess same thing. The belt. The belt was pretty amazing.
The belt, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were the only guild to do the strat where you had to we didn't tank the boss right by the belt, so we had to always run back through like
Yep.
World War III to get back to the boss. So, it was so intense that I was like sprint. I'm just like, yeah, let's go. So
That's wild, yeah.
Oh gosh, it does affect well, Bop at least. And
I mean,
and Bubble. What is this? Oh my goodness.
told you.
1.67
good.
minute cooldown.
Yeah.
Oh, so it does.
I think I'd have to agree with Spazzo on Siegecrafter. I mean, it's once you do that fight, it's so hard not to say it's your favorite. I mean, even Thok I enjoyed. Like that was a fun fight, especially with him chowing down on people. But my favorite mechanic so far, I think, is definitely the wheel on Garrosh. I don't know why, but when people die to the wheel, I just lose it sometimes. Like
Oh
laughing.
man, the Iron Star.
Get wheeled, bro. Get wheeled.
The Iron Star, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a really epic moment in one of the? Maybe it was the Russian Siegecrafter video, but they had like the black and white before the actual video started, and it had some clips from all over the zone. And I think there was a really epic moment where the wheel goes and like somebody just dies right there, and as they're setting
Yeah.
the video up, it was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. That was
think-
those videos are actually pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I don't know. Favorite boss? We haven't seen Siegecrafter Heroic yet or anything, because we're on Malkarok right now. I don't know. I think Shaw of Pride, like mechanically, is a very fun fight. I think at the gear level it's designed for, it's definitely challenging, and it's the first Shaw fight that we've had that isn't like really dumb, because Shaw of Fear was just dumb. That was just stupid. That was like a whole bunch of mechanics thrown in a weird order, and like phase 2 is, and you can avoid half of the mechanics in phase 1 in 25-man Heroic anyway. Like it was a huge like just pitfall for a Shaw fight. So Pride's fun. Favorite mechanic though is definitely the chunky bits. Fuck though. I'm all about them chunky bits. That's hilarious. I actually wondered for a long time if you died to Thok's Chomp Chomp, you can't get battle resed because you literally have no body anymore. You're just bits.
Well,
of...
if you, yeah, you can get res, but if you die on the
Yeah.
Siegecrafter belt, yep, you're done.
Oh, you're done because you get
Yeah, you're
pushed
done
off
for
into
it.
the blackness, don't you?
No,
Like,
you're just line of sight on
line
them
of
for some
sight?
reason.
Even if they're on their belt, you can't get res.
Wow.
Yep.
And before I'm not on the belt because I might die on it.
Thank God for cloak. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you doing that in the in the video that you guys released.
Mm.
I don't know my favorite fight yet, just because we haven't seen the 6 ones that I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
I was joking on Twitter, and I guess not everybody got the joke, but I was completely kidding when I said Jug was my favorite fight because I could actually see myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been complaining about visual overload for like 6 months now, and I was in the middle
Yeah.
of doing that fight, and I realized that like my character was the only one in the middle of the screen, so I could actually see my paladin like doing all of her cool little moves and stuff. And it's so rare because in a raid you just don't see that. Every single ranged video I watch, pretty much you can like see that character, but that doesn't happen in melee range. So I was kidding, and I
Yep.
said that Jug was my favorite because you could actually see shit anytime. And then
Yeah.
Omega, our warrior tank, said, "Yeah, Blizzard's gonna hotfix that out. They're gonna put some smoke in or something."
They're gonna make him like vent a whole bunch of garbage. Just
And there really is smoke too, because if your camera is turned if your camera's turned straight up, then there's smoke up on the top, and so it obscures everything. But
yeah.
that is not my favorite fight. It's just for everybody who's watching at home. I think that since I don't really have a favorite fight mechanically so far, I wasn't really impressed by any of the first 8. My favorite fight would have to go to Flavor, and flavor-wise, my favorite fight is probably just Protectors because it makes me really sad to see that we're fighting the Golden Lotus people that
Yeah.
I spent the last year with. That or Noroshen, which I think is a visually very stunning encounter. I think it's great the way that
It's true.
the room sort of purifies, and that's why it just is so depressing that encounter got completely screwed by the fact that it was tuned wrong. It really made me sad.
At launch,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
My
I,
bad person. Oh, sorry.
oh go no what Spazzo? What?
I was gonna say my bad person for like being happy that we killed those Golden Lotus guys and Protectors because of all the damn dailies they gave us.
No, I
Just
mean a
like-
lot of
Revenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I
I think
hate
I
that coin farm, and I hate that coin farm so much. And they
Yeah.
were my like reliable 20-minute, 30 coin source. And so even though it sucked, like I made myself resigned to it, and I knew that I could depend on them to give me my 30 coins in 20 minutes. Now I don't have that anymore, and I have to wander around Timeless Isle like not knowing what to do. So
I think I have to give a honorable mention to favorite moment so far has been our first time we pulled the Paragon's room in Crisp. And one of our awesome druids, Fauna, she was a little sad that we had to kill the bug you raised by the Calaxy.
Yeah.
Spoilers!
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't done that yet, I'm sorry. Anti-spoilers, post-spoilers. But that was definitely a time when she was like, don't kill him! No! Kovak!
No,
Kovak,
please
please!
See, I
Yeah.
didn't have to get Golden Lotus to Exalted. See, Chad is saying that, like, Claxy gave dailies too. I didn't have to get Golden Lotus to Exalted, but I did have to get Claxy to Exalted,
Yeah.
which I think made the difference for me. And the Claxy dailies were also just, like, really annoying. At launch, there was that one daily where the drop rate was ridiculously bugged. And I just remember sitting in Vent, and I messaged my guild leader and I'm like, I'm done. I can't prep for this shit anymore. I can't do this. I hate this game. I'm not playing anymore. And then like 2 people got in Vent and they were like, it's okay, we'll do it with you. And these people basically saved my sanity because they like very patiently did the last bits of getting to Claxy Exalted with me.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind the Golden Lotus as much. For some reason, I just like, they were dependable for me, and Claxy was my enemy.
Speaking of, where is it at? Speaking of Kenny, got another question here. This is from Kenny Loggins of US Illidan.
Oh,
Kenny
Kenny Loggins.
Loggins.
This is
Serious
at
Kenny Loggins.
yeah. This is at Ryethe. Why do people even play hunters when they could play the glorious Enhancement Shaman Master Race?
He told me he was going to troll me with this question before I came on the show, and you let it through. But thanks for that one.
I saw Enhancement Shaman, and in my mind's filter, I was like, I gotta ask this question because about Enhancement Shaman. And then I read it again, and I was like, oh, I'm still asking anyway. So.
But to put a serious spin on it, hunters are still a ranged DPS, so, you know, on fights where ranged are good, you probably want a hunter instead of an enhancement shaman.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'll go with that. That's still.
Aren't hunters really good on Thok? I mean, I may be displaying how poorly I understand the class here, but I thought hunters were fairly good on Thok.
Well, any range
They
you
are.
go with Thok, you can.
Yeah, being able to DPS while running is pretty OP.
And it's a class that doesn't get silenced.
Right. That's what I was
Like
thinking.
you don't have like all the other caster classes have to cast spells and they get silenced. Hunters can continuously attack 24/7 the entire fight. So, yeah. But you can't not take ranged to Thok because there's a lot of damage gained during the kite phases. So like it's a weird. Phase 1 sucks for caster ranged and is like carried by hunters and physical damage, you know, melee. And then melee don't do Thok damage really if you, depending on how your split is on the kite phase, because you usually have range that follow boss around. So, yeah. I don't know. Yep. So another question. This comes in from Spikeson from Malfurion US asks, is there a spoken or unspoken courtesy regarding the release of heroic boss kill videos? And do World First guilds coordinate their video releases in some manner? Now, I will answer this from my knowledge before we get into their answers. There has been a lot of middle fingers to that courtesy in the past, actually. I think Riggs did touch on it on his episode. You can go watch the VOD on the Final Boss YouTube. But yeah, I'll let them answer this. That's all I'm going to say, though. I'm gonna make sure to spotlight Riggs on that one. But
It's 5 guilds.
yeah.
So as soon as 5 25-man guilds have killed it, you can release a video. That's the courtesy, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it
So-
was Method who did release Lation early, and then Exorcist said, "Oh hell no," and then released Rodden early or something.
Yeah, there was a little bit of
Something like that.
undercutting happened last tier, yeah. Yep. And isn't that just happened missed tier too? Didn't Exorcist just release like
No, there was 5.
no? There was still 5?
Was Siegecrafter, you think?
I thought Siegecrafter came out before 5 had killed it. Like did
It
No,
did, yeah. It came out the day that Exorcist and
Envy.
that other guild, Envy, killed it. Yeah.
okay.
So
So
it
it
was
was still okay.
Well,
So-
they basically at least gave it the reset, so you know you could try it with the whatever gear you had and try and get it through the reset, and then as soon as it reset, they released their video, and then we followed Blood
Yeah.
Legion after that.
That'll actually be interesting though, what Sloot just kind of said toward the Heroic Garrosh now thinking about it. I wonder because they don't watch our scene. I wonder if they'll release a 10-man kill video and kind of like spoil all the phases, at least from a 10-man point of view. And that'll definitely impact your guys' progression because you'll see the fight, right? So like I don't know.
That stuff sucks. It sucks. so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's really bad too because like thinking back to something like Siegecrafter, like we did like that stream did pop up along progression, but we were so
Yeah.
far into our strat that we kind of went, we like our strat better. But I can only imagine if we were coming in and had the video available, and then we would have used that strat instead, and would have missed out on what I think is sort of an easier strat or a better strat. So.
Yeah, that is kind of. I mean, when you're at that high end, though, you are kind of on hype train, and if you want to promote your guild in that regard, like the Asian guild, I don't know if they care about our scene very much, but from their point of view, I don't know if they have the same courtesy in the Asian race. But if they release the video, of course it's available to us, right? Unless it's on some like weird other website, but it'll probably be on YouTube. And I guess Evan just said someone ripped it from the guy's stream already, so.
Wait, they already have a video of it?
So yeah, Evan just said some guy ripped the stream of the Asian guild that killed it. So is it already out? I mean, you can't not watch it though, right?
Yeah, it's like a
Because
double-edged sword. If you don't watch it,
Yeah.
you can miss something.
And if Method watches it, which they have the most time on it right now to gain the world first, that still gives them an unfair advantage over you guys. And yeah. Oh, the
don't think
Asian
it'll
siege
play
kill.
it.
Oh,
the Asian
okay.
siege kill,
I thought you
okay.
meant
Ooh.
I thought you meant
Scaring
the
us all
Garrosh
here with
kill.
the Garrosh
Yeah.
stuff. It's still
I was-
really interesting though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the siege skill that they released, like their strat was like, as Ryan said, like YOLO mode. And it was completely different than the way we did it.
They just like brute forced it, sort of.
They just did it differently. They left things up that we killed and other things. And they,
Oh.
like,
I mean,
tanked
there's
ours.
there's a couple different ways you can go with that fight. Like I think our fight was more, or our strat was more like coordinating the raid, whereas like what Method did and Blood Legion did, and even that Asian guild did, is it's a lot more like personal responsibility type of strat.
Yeah.
And there's certainly like pros and cons to each.
Would you say that Midwinter goes for a certain kind of strat in general? Because I know that with a lot of people that I talk to, they'll say like, oh, my guild just usually brute forces things, or like, oh, we generally go with the really complicated strat that when it all fits together, the fight just works perfectly. I guess at y'all's level, there's generally a strat that works the best, but is there a sort of a description that you could apply to the way that you guys go about a fight?
Well, I think what's sort of happened along the way is, we've had the same officers and raid leader since BC, and back then we were like a US 100 type of guild, right? So, I mean, the approach to fights hasn't really changed quite as much. So, I mean, I think our strats are still more like trying things that sort of like lowest number of points of failure type of deal, whereas
Yeah.
I think a lot of more higher end guilds sort of just go for personal responsibility. So I think we still sort of lean more towards the strat and away from personal responsibility, at least in my sense of how our strats work.
So you don't
Interesting.
put. I know there are certain fights you have to put certain responsibilities on people, individuals, right? So I know, like for us, and I know what's going to happen in our heroic paragons when we start working on it to get the bombs to break the amber. I know, like Tech, which is our mage slash raid leader slash officer slash research guru, he'll take the responsibility of doing that one job for himself and not making it like a round table. But I guess I don't know. Do you guys just not? Do you guys still have those like pivotal people that do these jobs in fights that require super individual responsibility?
There really,
Yeah,
Has there really been any this year?
I think the only thing I can think of is Paragons getting the bomb.
well, I don't really want to say anything about paragons right now. But
Oh yeah. For you guys, yeah, that's fine.
But in general, like if we do have personality things, like there are one or two people that we generally look to first to do those jobs for sure.
I think that's the same in every guild.
Yeah, I think every guild
Yeah.
kind of goes like that.
Okay. Well, I wanted to make sure that the information came out isn't like misconstrued. That people are like, you guys don't focus on any individual responsibility. Blah. I don't want that. Because I know we've had like some misconstrued stuff from the show in the past, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen for your answers, from you guys. So yeah. There's no more questions in the at least right now in the email. Is there anything on Twitter? I don't think. We
I
guys have
didn't see
questions
anything on
for
Twitter. I
anybody?
was looking at it.
Yeah.
Chat can chime in with anything they've got.
Sure.
that
We got a
they'd like
couple more
to
minutes
ask.
here. We got about 8 more minutes before I let these guys go to give them an hour before raid. So, yeah. I gotta get screenshots here in a little bit, so I gotta get Spazzo to sit up like a person, but no, not right now.
Oh.
You gotta show off you didn't show off the sweatshirt
Oh.
there too, by the way. You gotta see.
I can't tell if it gets in the shot or not.
Oh, almost there. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Is it? Can you see it?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I like it. I
Yeah.
like
Hunchback.
it. That's a nice sweatshirt.
A little too high now. You can There you go.
Get the idea.
Get the spot.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. Like I have the crisp shirt behind me. That's Sam. That's our GM, right? Like that's I'm poking him. That's our crisp shirt. And it says, yeah, refreshing. I think it's 2006. Refreshing since 2006 on the shirt. It's how long the guild's been around. So that's like the only swag we have. But yeah, the sweatshirt is super cool. The winter stuff. Which on that topic, I guess I can touch on it real quick. That if you're going to BlizzCon, right? I still have to get in touch with couple more people to really get the ball rolling on where we're going to be and when we're going to do it. But we want to do a community get-together kind of thing where we have, like, Midwinter, Blood Legion, Method people, Final Boss people, always the different, like, these guys that are going to be at BlizzCon in one place so that you guys can, like, come meet with us and talk and hang out. And then we're going to have... the plan is to have buttons and bracelets for Final Boss, a little Ragnaros button and Final Boss things. We want to have T-shirts too, but that's a whole other like expenditure we're not working about yet. So I know these guys have, I know Blood Legion and Midwinter and Method have like their own swag, so we're trying to get that all in one place that you guys can come and get some stuff to, you know, for representing the top guilds in the world, and just Final Boss fun stuff from us. So that'll happen at BlizzCon. More information of that will of course come out on the website and then Twitter and Facebook about that, and then we'll all network that together. But that'll be a lot of fun, I think. People have, when I first let that fly a couple weeks ago, people would love the little Ragnaros button or a little bracelet or something like that. Like I have, you know, the Bay Life bracelet for TSM. So in the same kind of fashion, they'll just say Final Boss on it, Final Boss TV. But yep, that'll be a lot of fun to do.
Well, we had a question come in on the chat. I don't know if it's a troll question or if it's a real question, but Sloot says he's got a question for Ryethe. If he was to re-roll mains, what would it be? And if he'd want to keep raiding in Midwinter.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think it would have to depend on whether looking for ranged or melee, so I guess I'll address both. For melee, yeah, it's definitely rogue.
Rogue,
I mean,
yeah.
Rogue all the way.
I've been playing since BC, and rogues always find a way. You know, they always find a way to be useful, like with their support and also with their DPS. So, I think it would definitely have to be rogue if I was to stay melee. If I was to go ranged, it's a bit of a weird choice since they haven't always been that strong. But hunters, I think they kind of play like a ranged melee, and you know what?
Yeah.
I just like melee. I don't think I could ever truly get away from it, so I would probably go hunter. I don't really like Warlock, to be honest. Like it just doesn't really appeal to me. And I'm not very good at it to begin with, so I don't really like it.
I don't know. I've always been. I mean, I played Druid and then I played Shaman. They're both hybrids with ranged healing and melee DPS, and I've never really liked pure classes before.
I don't do any pure classes.
I don't know. I mean, I have a Paladin. My other ult's a Paladin.
I have is a rogue that's pure, yeah.
Yeah.
I have like a monk, a paladin, and a priest, and I like the other thing.
Yeah, in all the games I play, I like classes that are hybrids, whether it's DPS and healing or DPS and tanking. I just think it's so much more interesting that way. But it's funny that you say that you love melee. Like all of my alts are ranged. I had a DK that I played a whole lot in Wrath, but since Wrath, I've gotten so bitter about melee and just how much not fun it is to be in melee range sometimes that I've really enjoyed all of my ranged alts. So I would definitely, if I rerolled anything, I'd reroll ranged, no question.
Well, I think a lot of it too comes down to like the feel of playing the game. Like I find that melee sort of feels a little bit more responsive than range does, and that's sort of the aspect I like. Like even when I had my I switched from my Paladin ult to my Warlock ult last patch. And even though Paladins were weaker, I always enjoyed like going back in the Paladin and playing him more than the Warlock, just from pure like feel, like responsiveness, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I think I didn't always hold the opinion that I do. I love melee. You know, I tend to gravitate towards a Paladin type class in whatever game that I play. So I'm hoping for some changes to rating that make melee a little bit better. And that's why I was so glad to hear from you guys that this tier there aren't really any fights that are so actively unfriendly to melee that it's a detriment to bring them. Because I do like rating on my Paladin. She is my favorite character, so I'd like to stick with it.
Cameron brings up. I'll take this as the last question so I can get you guys here. Well, get you guys out to raid, not rid of you. If Blizz should get rid of pure classes, meaning turn them all into hybrids, pure seems very outdated normally, since one or two of the DPS specs are useless. You always play one anyway. And that's actually been a thing that I've thought about in a while and I've talked to friends about before, is that like rogues and shamans should all, you know, in that regard, rogues should have a tanking spec. Because a lot of games have rogue tanks. Terra has rogue tanks. Isn't Guild Wars 2, you have like the roguish spec that can tank.
I'm drinking for the Star Wars The Old Republic reference.
And and in Star Wars The Old Republic, drink.
Mm-hmm.
I play the Consular, which is basically a rogue tank. You two-hand, but you are a rogue-based tank. You are energy-based. So Spazzo keeps shaking his head.
No.
But
No more tanks.
And
No
no more tank. I'm just saying, like, if they like mages and warlocks would have like almost like a healing spec or something like that, you know, where they would do almost like, because what is it? Because the one thing I like about Guild Wars 2 is there's no Trinity. They get away with not having the Trinity, which I think is sort of an evolution of MMOs that happens in good ways and bad ways. So I don't know. I mean, people always ask about Blizzard having 4 specs with every class now, and that's not going to happen. So.
But I think at the same time, like being a pure and having 3 DPS specs, especially like a warlock, like you can, you know, one of your specs can be terrible at a fight, and then you just switch to a different spec and use the same gear, right? Like there's definitely an appeal there for sure.
Well, one of the big problems with these pure classes with 3 DPS specs is something that the devs have mentioned before as well, which is that if they try to make the specs all very different, so that people feel like they want to play the one that they like the best or that they're most comfortable in, what ends up happening is that people have to learn 3 incredibly different classes because they're expected to know which is the best spec for the fight and then to subsequently play that spec for the fight, even down in the casual level where it really doesn't matter and where you would get a much bigger gain out of playing the spec that you're most comfortable with. There's just this expectation that a lock knows how to play all 3 specs, and they made those specs very different. So I don't know. I feel like pure classes are not perfect. I'm glad I don't play them.
No, exactly. They're not perfect, but I definitely wonder. I know that it was just said that where was it? Bill 5 said that all hunter specs are doing the same thing, and that's the same thing with warlock specs. But I think warlocks and hunters are very much similar, as they have like a you-focused spec, a pet-focused spec, and then one that's like even. You know, it's kind of even across the board, right? So they kind of have that differentiation before, but then each spec is very different in how you have to learn it, right? You can't just play marksman for 3 years, then go, I'm going to play BM, and like, oh, what the hell, you know? It's definitely different. But
I think I saw a blue post from GC though saying that he felt that hunters were like warlocks maybe too diverged, like the 3 specs, but hunters were definitely still too close. That he wants to get
that's
some
so weird. Yeah,
that's
such a hard line to figure out, though, especially as developers. I'm sure, like, as players, we're just like, we deal with what we give, you know, we have to play the game they give us, right? But for them, like, man, that must be hard to figure out the delineation and figure that all out and keep them different sameness. I don't even know.
I mean, I play 2 specs because I like 2 specs, and that's the reason why I like a pure. I've been a tank and a melee DPS for a long time, and I like them both. And that's actually the only thing I like about Dark Shamans is that I get to tank. But I know not everybody wants to do that. There are paladins and there are shamans that are just like only melee or only healer or they're only DPS, and that's just the way that those people want to play. And I feel like the pure classes, when you play in a hardcore guild, I don't know. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know how many of your hybrids are expected to know multiple specs for raiding, but my assumption is that you guys don't use off specs very much. You bring in another player if you need to to fill a different spot.
We definitely do, and the thing is that it's quite hard to gear a second spec compared to gearing a second character, because you get access to, say, another raid to gear that other character.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a little bit too difficult to gear an off spec compared to just a whole other character.
Right. So a hybrid is probably only going to learn to play and gear 1 spec, whereas a pure class is going to obviously learn how to play all 3. And I'm just not sure if that's working the way that it really should be right now in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some exceptions. Like if we've had our Ellie Shamans play Resto at some points, but they share gear more or less. So I mean, I think that's kind of what if you want to have that hybrid experience, then they really need to find a way to sort of share gear between all the specs type of deal.
Well, that's why Paladins work so great, is because Rets love haste, and guess what? Prots love haste too. So all of my gear pretty much shares itself as well. It's what makes me really convenient as the 3rd tank, is because I pretty much pick the same gear up for both my specs.
I'm gonna do it again. That's like 4 or 5 times this episode. Drink. In Star Wars The Old Republic, they know going into... Wait, there it is. they knew kind of going into their building blocks of their, as far as I know, there's 4 armor types, and there are 4 main classes, and each class is 1 armor type, and that armor type is used across your 3 specs with slight variations, right? Maybe like some mods and whatever. But that was really, really streamlined because no matter which of the 4 you play, no one else needs your gear other than the same class. So, and that's gotten better over time, right? With like, now that we have the mail and leather and cloth and plate specializations, right? You don't want to break that extra 5%. But yeah, there was like right now you have lots of classes sharing so many different pieces, and then others that don't need them at all. And we talked about it a lot more last week with the 10-man episode, but yeah, I think there are definitely some evolutions you see as MMOs develop, that they figure out problems that certain ones have, and they improve upon them in their game. I don't know much about XIV, but I don't know how their gearing system works, if it's convoluted or really simple, but that's the first one that comes to mind, is how SWTOR has 4 types of armor, and each one is for 1 class, so it makes it really easy to gear without having to worry about blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, for something else, let me grab some screenshots here. Spazzo, sit up, be a person. Let me get something from you. Let me get a screenshot from you for the front page here on the thumbnail.
Yes, Bill, you really did just say XIV out loud. It was pretty epic.
Yeah, that's what it
as well.
Yeah.
You should just grab the one of the back of the hoodie. If you can.
Should I? Yeah, I could. I could grab that.
You should.
Try again right now, actually, because I have the full screen on you and I can grab a better one.
Oh.
Yes, no? Yeah.
God.
So much work. Making Spazzo work.
He's like leaving. He's done.
Is that better?
Turn a little more to your left. Go back. Yeah. Keep going. Dip down a little bit. Dip. Yeah. No, I'm using it. That's fine.
Out of
All
context.
Out of context.
Thank you.
That's for Sloot. That's for Sloot. He'll say that for later. But yeah. So Spazzo, Twitter @Spazzo. Yes, and check out the Midwinter race here, the U.S. Dark Horse. Ryethe, what do you want to give me for a screenshot?
Let's go with what I got right now. I'm not picky.
No, not picky. I know we were talking about earlier that you can't stop smiling. You are definitely a smiley man. So.
If only they could see me during raids. This is how I raid too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I like the facial expression in that screenshot that we looked at earlier today. It's like got you with the real face, but with like the shaman tier on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, if you wanted to use something, you can use that. That'd be pretty.
Yes.
Awesome.
Link it in the Skype. I'll use that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Give it in the
Oh, there we
Skype.
go.
Reese's got it. Reese's being an awesome mini boss. All right, Anna, what are you doing for me? We had the awesome cup last week, but
I don't know if I have anything quite that epic this week. I don't know. You can find something from within the show. I'll look through it after.
well, no, that's too much work. I always grab it from the after
too
show.
much work.
Too much work. Ridiculous.
I'll give you a thumbs up.
No, wait. Hold it. Nailed it. All right.
I don't know about that.
I never know. I always make really dumb faces because it always baffles me to get this stuff done. Oh, I gotta close this. Stop episode. Freaking XSplit going nuts. I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. I'm just gonna give it a beard scratch. That's fine. I'll use that. I don't even know. I grabbed them for the thumbnails for the YouTube, but yep, if you just tuned in, this is the after show, the whole episode and the after show. The after show comes out later, but the whole show will be up tomorrow on YouTube, as well as the audio-only version of the show proper, also with Chrono Trigger music. Favorite game of all time. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Again, for everyone here at the Final Boss crew, and we'll see you guys here next Sunday. I don't know who's going to be on the show next Sunday. I think we have an idea, but we don't have anyone confirmed yet because of the progression race.
It'll be a secret, so you guys have to check the Final Boss
It'll be a
Twitter to
secret.
see.
Yeah, there you go.
It'll be great. It'll be a really epic announcement. So everyone go make sure that you follow the Final Boss Twitter. I'll probably retweet it on Anfield as well.
But as we get closer to the people we want to get on the show, like being a little more not rating all the time, we'll get people on the show and we'll be knowing you guys beforehand. Give us a hint. If we have our way, Joe, it's going to be a ranged caster episode. That's all I'll say.
It'll be an epic one too.
Yeah, ranged casters. That's it. There's a lot of them though. It's like 12.
A lot of them in every raid as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the hint. We'll see you guys here next week. Have a great week. Have a good reset. Next Sunday, 1 PST, 4 EST, and 10 CET. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.
See you guys.